strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control, our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are freed.
Thank you, Bonnie. Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be with you this morning on this beautiful Florida day. Oh my goodness, it was a little chilly this weekend, a little bit, but I enjoyed it. This is beautiful. It's a beautiful day. Y'all get outside today, walk around, get some fresh air. So today's words of wisdom are from Edward Hayes. A seeker came to the teacher asking, I am interested in the spiritual quest. What books do you suggest I read? The teacher smiled and pointed to his bookshelf, which didn't have any books on it at all. And he says, but I don't understand. And he returned, he said, the best books are people. Wishing to justify himself, the seeker said, surely a spiritual man such as yourself would recommend that I read the Bible. Which translation of the Bible would you suggest? And the teacher smiled again and said, the best translation of the Bible is a saint. Bonnie?
Okay. This song for my special music is called The Litany of the Saints. And we know if you're not in the Catholic Church, you don't probably know of a lot of saints unless you're well read of them. But this is a litany, and it's often done, of course, at this time of year, the Litany of the Saints, and also at Easter time. Mary and Joseph, Michael and all angels, Anthony and Oliver, Nicholas of Myra, Anne and Sebastian, Teresa of Avila, Saint John Bosco, Francis of Assisi. Oh, you holy men and women, pray for us. Abigail and Nicholas, Elizabeth and Seton, David and John Newman, Patrick and Marius, Gertrude of Nivelles, Teresa Little Flower, Maximilian Kolbe, Saint Bonaventure. Oh, you holy men and women, pray for us. Christopher and Rita, Joan of Arc and Lucy, Luke and Cecilia, Rose of Lima, Elizabeth of Hungary, John Paul and Bernadette, Agnes of Rome, Teresa of Calcutta. Oh, you holy men and women, pray for us. Jude and John the Baptist, Kateri Tekakwitha, Anne and Mary Magdalene, Clement of Rome, Bridget of Kildare, Maria Goretti, Catherine of Bologna, Mary Queen of Saints. Oh,
Good morning. I'm Kathy Hopkins. During the month of November, when we do our stewardship drive, every week you'll be hearing from one of our members, and today is my turn. So after retiring and relocating to this area, my husband Mark and I thought that joining this church would be a good way to get to know people and form some meaningful relationships. We'd been UUs before, and we knew that it was a good fit for us. And that was 7 years ago. Since then, I've come to appreciate how much more there is to being a member of this church. It's not just about what the church means to us or how well it meets my needs for growing spiritually and finding meaning in my life. It's also about the impact this church has on this community. By supporting this church, I'm part of something larger than myself, able to contribute to the greater community beyond what I could possibly do just on my own. So this realization hit me about 2 years ago when we did the reopening celebrations after all the many years of being out of our church recovering from sinkhole damage. I was the church president at that time, and I had the honor of accepting the key to the city from Mayor Cruz. So the mayor recognized our church for the partnerships that we had made and the contributions that we made to key initiatives in this city. And at that time, I looked around the audience and I was just overwhelmed to see how many of our community friends had shown up to help us celebrate. So in case you're not aware, being a small church, we find the best way to make an impact is to partner with other groups. So some of the groups that we are partners with, and this is just a partial list, there's the MLK Foundation, Hispanic Outreach, the local Head Start program, the Haven Women's Shelter, CAP, that's Citizens Alliance for Progress. We provide books for ESL, English as a Second Language classes, the Ready for Life program, supporting kids who are exiting the foster care system, the Laundry Project to assist low-income families, and a PASCO Transgender Youth Support Group. And that's not all, that's not the full list. But it's not just social justice. To celebrate the arts, we host concerts and invite the community, and our paintings and our historic buildings are a cultural treasure that we maintain and share with the community. Beyond social justice and the arts, there's something more. And it is simply our presence, displaying our values. During the COVID months, we redirected energy into creating an outdoor sanctuary. We now fly a rainbow flag and boldly display a banner that reads, "In this congregation we believe love is love, Black Lives Matter, climate change is real, no human being is illegal. Women's rights are human rights. All genders are whole, holy, and good." Did you know that that banner has been stolen off of our property twice? And the flag has also been stolen a few times, and the flagpole damaged as well. We've reported the vandalism to the police, and we replace the items each time, and we will continue to do so. We will persist because our presence is noticed and it matters. Our church adopted a new vision statement just last month, and this is what we as a congregation aspire to. Our vision is this: we are widely known as a beacon of liberal faith. We connect bravely, grow spiritually, embody justice, nurture the arts, and love unconditionally. Now that things are beginning to open up again, I feel like this is a time of renewal for this church. We hold the key to the city, and it's amazing what a group of determined people, what an impact we can make. Judy?
I learned more today than I ever knew. Thank you. We have history lessons. I'm here to give you an update on the pledge campaign. And as you notice, our beautiful poster is there, and there's a few changes to it. There are 12, what do you call them? Not stems. Huh? Trunks. That's what I'm looking for, trunks. There are 12 trunks. And our goal is about $80,000 this year. And I think many of you have received your pledge packets, and if you haven't, let me know. There are some blank packets on the counter in the kitchen. So if you want, pick one up. So anyway, as of yesterday, people have pledged $16,000. That's about 1/6 of what our needs are right now. So each trunk, I will fill in each week as we get more pledges. Thank you very much for your support, and keep it on coming, honeys.
Now is the time in our service where we take our offering for the work and welfare of this church. The Social Justice Council is requesting donations in November for Martin Luther King Foundation. To support this work, you may mail your offering to the church at 57 Reed Street, Tarpon Springs, Florida, 34689, or please go to our website, uutarpon.org, and click the Donate button. Select Social Justice, give the plate, and indicate MLK Foundation. The Martin Luther King Foundation sponsors events and fundraisers to provide scholarships to students in Tarpon Springs. Our church has been a strong supporter of the foundation. We attend and volunteer at annual breakfast before the MLK parade in January, and we march in the parade. We are involved with the foundation committee and assist the scholarship rewards. We are asking for your donation to support their good works financially as well. Please be as generous as you can. The offering will now be given and received.
Our hymn during the offering today is For All the Saints. It's number 103 in the gray book, if you'd like to turn and hum along. And the music comes from one of my very favorite composers, Ralph Vaughan Williams. Number 103. And we'll do verse 1, 2, and 3, and make note that verse 3 is on the other page. For all the saints who from their labors rest, who thee by faith before the world confessed, thy name most holy be forever blessed. Alleluia, alleluia. Thou wast their rock, their shelter
Our reading this morning is They Are Still With Us by Reverend Kathleen McTeague. In the struggles we choose for ourselves and the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn out by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust. They have not disappeared. They are still with us. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands and their hearts. We take them with us and with them choose the deeper path of living. And so may it be. So, saints. Saint Denis. Saint Denis is a saint that not many people know about. He was a bishop in Paris during the 3rd century. And he's often depicted with him holding his head. His own head, holding his own head. So Saint Denis was martyred by decapitation. And stories say that after his head was severed, I know that's a little gross, but after his head was severed, he stood, he picked up his head, and he walked for 6 miles preaching a sermon. That must have been a sermon, right? St. Francis of Assisi is attributed with saying, "Preach the gospel at all times, and if necessary, use words." Or, as the case may be for St. Denis, your severed head. Last Monday was All Saints' Day, and it's a holy day celebrating the saints. Have you ever wondered how one becomes a saint? I was raised Baptist, so I'm not really familiar. I wasn't really familiar with the Catholic Church, but I know there's people here that were probably raised in the Catholic Church. So y'all might know, but I was really curious, so I looked it up. And it's pretty intense to become a saint. It happens no sooner you die, and then 5 years later or more is when the process begins. And it involves performing miracles, living a life of heroic virtue. Okay, so living a life of heroic virtue does not mean that the person was perfect or sinless, but that she worked aggressively to improve herself spiritually and never gave up trying to be better and grow in holiness. And then, finally, the candidate is recognized as a saint by the Pope, who is the head of the Catholic Church. But within our larger culture, saints are not only those that are martyrs or have been canonized, but people who are, in the words of Pope Francis, contagious examples of everyday holiness. Contagious examples of everyday holiness. Saints are people who live virtuous lives and call us to our highest selves. They're role models. They're role models, and they're so possessed by an internal vision of goodness that they give us a glimpse of what is possible in ourselves. Recently, I got into a discussion with a friend of mine about the morality of Dr. King. I'm going there, y'all. This is what's happening. My friend asked me, I know, it's a touchy subject, but I'm going there. My friend asked me if it mattered to me that Dr. King allegedly engaged in extramarital affairs. Did his messy personal life and his womanizing make him less of a hero in my eyes? Is he less of a leader, a prophet, or what many people call a saint? And I answered no. I said, Dr. King is a man and he led an extraordinary life of service to God's people. And he was not perfect, but he was dedicated and guided in his service by his love for humanity. And others agree. In fact, about the same time that Mother Teresa of Calcutta was sainted, Dr. King was sainted, not by the Catholic Church, but by the Holy Christian Orthodox Church. Dr. King is an example of how we can do great things in our society, even in our imperfections. Dr. King stands as an inspiration to people in difficult times. His life was centered on the gospel. The gospel inspired every major decision that he made. In fact, it was his dedication and his commitment to his theology of love and equality that got him killed. He could have stopped his work as a brilliant civil rights leader when he was threatened. He could have turned his back on his principles. He could have given up. But the fact that he didn't do so is proof of his devout and heroic nature. Mother Teresa is another religious leader who was flawed and has her critics. Many have questioned the hygiene and the medical standards adopted by the sisters that serve people in her charity. Others have criticized what they call a cult of suffering, that she was perhaps glorifying human suffering instead of alleviating it. Also, she was quite dogmatic against contraception, against divorce, and against abortion. It's true. Her life, though, her life inspired so many people to do such good work and address poverty and isolation and suffering. But perhaps the image of altruism is a bit of a myth, just a little bit. She did, however, understand the importance of offering grace to one another, saying, keep in mind that our community is not composed of those who are already saints, but those who are trying to become saints. Therefore, let us be extremely patient with each other's faults and failures. Psychologist Abraham Maslow reminds us that there are no perfect human beings. Persons can be found who are good, very good, great even. There exist creators and seers, sages, saints, shakers and movers. Even if they are uncommon, do not come by the dozen. And yet these very same people can be boring, irritating, petulant, selfish, angry, and depressed. To avoid disillusionment of human nature, we have to first give up our illusions about it. Saints are ordinary people who happen to be extraordinarily human. Reverend Craig Noad believes that the ordinary saints among us are living embodiment of these words. They are profoundly human people who remind us that we are co-authors in life, whose choices determine the outcomes of our stories and ultimately the meaning of our lives. The ordinary saint possesses a deep and abiding awareness of the interconnectedness of all of our lives, and they act accordingly. They're companions guiding us by example. One of the pitfalls well-meaning people succumb to in the face of the world's suffering, and you might be familiar with this, is to focus on the magnitude of the problem. But doing so only increases our likeliness of becoming trapped in this vicious cycle of powerlessness and inertia. Instead, we might learn the way of the ordinary saint. The ordinary saint learns to see with clarity, discerns what is truly possible in a given moment, and then responds to that awareness because it matters. The ordinary saint refuses to condemn humankind to ugliness. They reveal to us the beauty which we all possess, beauty which resides within us, in our entire selves, in our nerves, in our muscles, in our common choices that we make every single day, and in our histories. Who are the ordinary saints in your lives? Who has been a hero or a heroine to you? I think of one of my mentors, Reverend Marjorie Bowens-Wheatley. She served my home congregation in Tampa for several years before getting cancer and passing away in 2006. She appreciated what she called the beauty of our faith. She once wrote, "What is the strength of our religious liberalism if not to truly encourage a free and responsible search for one's own truth, and to translate the great truths of the world, whether it be religion or science or art or literature, in ways that people can hear. What is our liberal faith for if not to teach respect for difference?" Marjorie taught me the ministry of multiculturalism and the importance of creating a religious community that is welcoming to all people. She was honest and courageous and brilliant. And when I stood on the stage at General Assembly, which was our yearly gathering of our congregations, hopefully that we missed some because of COVID, but we all get together, and it's awesome. I love General Assembly, and they honor people during General Assembly, ministers who have made milestones. So when I stood on the stage and was receiving preliminary fellowship, I remembered Marjorie, because she is the one that sat with me and helped me fill out my first seminary application. I wouldn't be who I am without her life and how meaningful she was to me in her commitment to our faith, her guidance. She was a saint to me. So what saints do we have in our Unitarian Universalist tradition? Who are the heroes and the heroines, those who epitomize excellence and personify goodness, bravery, courage, and commitment? What models do we hold up for ourselves and for our children? Reverend Lee Blumel proposes that we establish sainthood in the Unitarian Universalist Association. I don't know what that would look like, how the process would work. Maybe we would vote on them at General Assembly. I'm not sure. But if you look in our history, it's not difficult to see Unitarians and Universalists who would qualify as saints. Perhaps our patron saint of healers and the sick is Universalist Clara Barton, who nursed victims in the Civil War. She became known as the Angel of the Battlefield. Following the war, she organized the search and identification of missing men. On her later trip to Europe, she became associated with the International Red Cross and was successful in founding the American chapter of the Red Cross in 1881. It was also Barton who got the United States to sign the Geneva Convention related to victims and prisoners of war and expanded the American Red Cross to provide relief for whatever disasters. We definitely see that here in Florida. Whatever disasters come, the Red Cross is there. And because she was Universalist, she extended her services to all the wounded. It didn't matter what side you were fighting on or what country you were from. She was there to take care of you. Perhaps our patron saint of science is Joseph Priestley. Priestley is best known for the discovery of oxygen and soda water, but what is noteworthy for us as Unitarian Universalists is his thirst for knowledge. His thirst for knowledge and his understanding that scientific questions and religious questions are linked. They're linked. Science and religion is linked, not separate, together. He believed that a proper understanding of the natural world would promote human progress. Priestley, who strongly believed in the free and open exchange of ideas, advocated toleration and equal rights for religious dissenters, which also led him to help find Unitarianism in England. How about the patron saint of naturalists and those who love the earth? Anyone? Anyone have a guess? Naturalists, those who love the earth. Henry David Thoreau. Thank you. Participation. Thoreau is one of the people who actually drew me into our faith. In high school, I took a literature class and learned about Henry David Thoreau, and the Transcendentalists, and that's how I found out about Unitarian Universalism when I was 15. I just absolutely fell in love with it. I loved his love of nature and his spirit of civil disobedience. He was an abolitionist, and he believed that it is our responsibility to speak out against injustice. He adhered to the fundamental transcendentalist principle that there is a higher law than civil law, and that when there is a conflict between the two, it is the citizen's duty to heed the voice of conscience rather than collude in oppression. Blumel goes on to lift up the reality that our world can feel brutal, unkind, and shaped by special interests, and sometimes headed in the wrong direction. The news brings us constant assault on humanity and decency. I don't watch the news as much as I used to. It's difficult for me to watch. It's good to take a break, by the way. Just want to put that out there. It's always good to take a break from the news if you need to. It's important for us to recognize the deep human needs for models who show us different ways of living meaningful lives. Many of the world's religions have leaders who guide people. So in Christianity, there's the saints. In the Jewish faith, there's righteous ones, patriarchs, prophets. Buddhists have bodhisattvas. Muslims have prophets also. In his book, Saints and Virtues, John Stratton Hawley reminds us that the great religions did not gain a hold on us by precepts alone. Within each religion is a powerful body of tradition that emphasizes not codes, but stories, not precepts, but personalities, and not lectures, but lives. I heard a story of a single dad who was new to a particular community, and so he decided to take his 7-year-old child to church one day. And it was a church that he had never been to before, and he didn't know when church school was, our religious education, and so he had his son sit with him in the worship service. The minister came to the pulpit and preached a sermon on the saints. He talked about the history of Christianity, people like Peter and James, Mary and Martha, like the saints that we heard in the music that Bonnie played earlier, people who knew Jesus personally. He talked about the early fledgling church and about the people who laid the foundation for the church. He talked about people who lived over 1,000 years ago, who challenged others to look at faith differently and to find a deeper relationship with the holy. He talked about modern day saints like Gandhi and Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King, who struggled for the rights of all people. While all this was going on, the little boy was fascinated by the stained glass windows of the church. The stained glass windows lined the sanctuary, and it was a very bright, sunny day, so he was overcome by the colors that were coming in from the windows. It was as if a rainbow had shattered and covered the congregation with radiant shapes of red and gold and green and blue and purple, the colors that were reflected by the people in the windows. Some of the same people that the minister mentioned in his homily. The colors were beautiful, and they filled the church. After the service, when they were driving home in the car, his dad asked him what he thought of the church service. And he said, "I liked it." "Were you listening to the minister's sermon at all?" the father inquired. "A little," admitted the boy. "Do you know what he was talking about?" his dad asked him. The boy confirmed that the sermon had something to do with people called saints. Testing how awake and attentive his son was, the father then asked, "And who are the saints?" And the boy said, "They are the people who the light shines through." They are the people who the light shines through. Saints are not just those who have done dramatic things in history, fighting for the rights of all people and their faith. They are those who have helped us open our eyes to see the holy in our midst. On All Saints' Day, we are reminded of that great cloud of witnesses as is described in Hebrews 12, who have gone before us and who sustain us on our journey. They rely on us to carry forth their commitment and ideals. Sometimes the veil is lifted and we feel the presence of those gone before us. I definitely feel that great cloud of witnesses when I participate in justice demonstrations. When we lift our voices for critical, positive environmental change, or a living wage, or common sense gun legislation, or non-racist police behavior, or women's reproductive rights, we are joining the ranks of those who came before us to bring about a more fair and just world. It is important to remember and to honor the heroes and the heroines of our lives and our faith. We all have the potential to be saints for one another. We are called to imitate the lives of those who teach compassion and justice and hope, those who serve humanity with love. Let us pause and reflect on the ordinary saints in our lives. Let us be more aware and appreciative of those who the light shines through, those who are instruments of love and of service. It is true that some of us will do more than others. Some of us have more time to give or more of ourselves to give, but we all have a responsibility to live lives of great intention. During this time of reflection, give thanks for those who made an impact on our lives. Let us, in the words of John Murray, go out into the highways and byways, give the people something of our new vision. We may possess a small light, just a small light, but uncover it. Uncover that light and let it shine. Use it in order to bring more light and more understanding to the hearts and the minds of the people. Give them not hell, but hope and courage. Do not push them deeper into their theological despair, but preach the kindness and everlasting love of God. So may it be.
Our closing hymn is This Little Light of Mine, number 118 in your gray hymnal. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Wonderful. Our closing words are by Barbara Peskin. Because of those who came before, we are. In spite of their failings, we believe. And because of and in spite of the horizons of their vision, we to dream. Have a beautiful week.
And let us now sing number 1, 2, 3, Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
We extinguish the chalice with words by Tom Shade. My friends, there is a power at work in the universe. It works through human hands, but it was not made by human hands. It is a creative, sustaining, and transforming power, and we can trust that power with our lives and with our ministries. It will sustain us whenever we take a stand on the side of love, whenever we take a stand for peace and justice, whenever we take a risk. Trust in that power. We are together held in that power. I have a bit of sad news to share this morning, and that is our friend Chuck Boardman passed away this week. I invite you all to come to the forum room for a bit of social hour with our Zoom friends, other members that have joined us on Zoom, and perhaps we can spend a little time sharing joys and concerns. Thanks to all of you who have joined us today.
My postlude is a song that is written by a Unitarian Universalist minister of Austin, Texas, Meg Barnhouse. And she wrote this about Lady Julian of Norwich. And it talks about all the cruelty and the loneliness and the homelessness of the world. But Lady Julian's mantra was, all will be well, all will be well. All manner of things will be well. And that is the chorus. And it goes like this, if you'd like to hum along as I do it. And she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand, and Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know, do you not know about sorrow? And Julian, do you not know, do you not know about pain? I said, Julian, do you not know, do you not know about sorrow? And Julian, do you not know, do you not know about shame? She said, all will be well, all will will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know about loneliness? And Julian, do you not know about disease? I said, Julian, do you not know about cruelty? I said, Julian, it's too much. It brought me to my knees. And she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. She says, no one does not know about sorrow, and no one does not know about pain. She said, no one does not know about hunger, and no one does not know about shame. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. She said, no one does not know about loneliness, and no one does not know about disease. She said, no one does not know about cruelty, and I know it can often bring you to your knees, but I say all will be well, all